Hey guys, welcome to this episode of Pondering the Process, where we embark on a journey of discovery with some of the most creative minds in the community and explore the making of their latest projects. Today we're talking with digital artist Michael about his thought-provoking NFT piece titled As I Sank, I Explored. Thank you for taking the time to join us, Michael. It's a pleasure to have you on here.
Yeah, you're welcome, man. Thank you. Glad to be here.
Thank you. So, I was looking at your work that you titled As I Sank, I Explored. Very interesting piece. It's got so much going on, to be honest, with the person in the scuba suit sinking in, the bricks around it, the flowery designs, very detailed piece. What genre of art would you categorize this as?
I would call it surrealism because there's elements that are from like dream sequences. The work itself looks like a dream sequence, right? So we have an astronaut, and if you look closely, the astronaut suit is torn, it's tattered, but inside the suit, it's not a human being, it's flowers and plants and stuff. And then it's an astronaut, but then it's underwater, sinking, you get. So, dream sequence. So, I would categorize it as surrealism.
I see. And is there any story behind the piece?
Yeah, actually, there's a lot of history attached to the piece. It's very interpersonal to me. So, I don't know if you know about the Igbo landing.
I do.
It's perfect. So, ever since I learned about the Igbo landing, it has inspired a lot of artworks that I make revolving around water and all stuff like that. So, this is part of the small series I started recently, revolving around the whole Igbo landing, but in a way that's more personal to me because there was a period when I struggled financially, right? And it always felt like sinking in water, which reminds me of the Igbo landing. But then one way that helped me to pull through was by owning up to the situation and learning from it instead of fighting it. So think of it like someone who is in such a situation, but instead of embracing it, they're struggling. Think of it like someone sinking in water. Instead of being cool, calm, and collected and figure out how to leave that situation, you're struggling and still sinking. So that's the idea behind the piece.
I see. From the title, though, it says, As I Sank, I Explored. So if they're struggling, how are they able to explore?
Yeah, that's where embracing your situation comes in. I've been trying to learn how to swim, but for some reason it hasn't come to me. I'm still trying though. But one thing I always notice is once you're in the water, they always tell you to be relaxed and calm so that you know how to orient yourself, right?
Yeah.
Now, when people are in bad situations, they find it difficult to be calm and collected and reason properly. But that's exactly what you're supposed to do in such situations, right? So within that period of my life, I had to force myself to relax and embrace what was going on around me and learn from it. You get what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So that's basically it. And the water represents financial and life situations and all that kind of stuff. So while I sank financially, I was able to remain calm and learn from the situation I was in. That's essentially what it is.
Okay. And then you mentioned before how it's not actually a person inside the suit, right? It's flowers. What does that represent?
So I see people as gardens, different kinds of gardens, right?
Yeah.
And from the outside, you can tell what it is. It's a garden, right?
Yeah.
But you can't really tell how well kept the garden is till you go inside it. You get. Mm-hmm. So this started at sometime in 2021 when I was exploring this idea, and then I started making humanoid garden-like figures right? And it just carried on throughout my works. So think of it like a person, they are beautiful on the outside until you actually get to know them. Then you know, okay, is this a kind of garden I can dwell in or not?
I see.
I don't know if you get. Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So it stuck with me from then till now, and I'm still exploring that aspect of my work, still building upon it slowly but gradually.
Okay. And then how about the brick wall in the background? Because it looks like the person, or I guess the garden, is trying to get through the crack of the brick wall. Does the broken brick wall actually symbolize anything?
I won't really say it symbolizes something, but it's more of a vehicle to say something in my works. So all my works are basically juxtapositions of two ideas or more, right? So if you look at my works and there's a brick wall, there's always a painting on the wall and then a figure in the background. So I use the wall as a way to bring out one idea and then use the second figure to talk about a different idea and compare both of them, right? But then for this very piece, as I sank, I explored. I decided to do something different. I decided to break the wall because in this piece, I wasn't trying to compare. I was trying to talk about something that I felt like I experienced. There was nothing else to compare it to. So I broke the wall, and that's how it came out.
Wait, so what was the real reason for breaking the wall then? Like, why this piece?
I wanted uniformity in my works. So I wanted the wall to be there, but I had to put it in there in a very creative way. You get?
I see.
So I decided, okay, I'll put the wall, but then I will break it. So the entire wall is actually underwater together with the whole astronaut and the image and everything. And I actually struggled to figure out how to incorporate it, but I made it through in the end.
I see. So you didn't necessarily need it to be there, but you still wanted it there.
Yes.
Okay.
If you actually look at the bottom part of the wall, right? So you will notice that there is the painting of flowers. There's green grass, lush with flowers. It's very subtle. I didn't want it to be very obvious. But then behind it, within the crack, you'll find seaweeds instead. So that's still kind of like a bit of a juxtaposition where I'm comparing lush green flowers with the flowers you find underwater, right? But then I kept that juxtaposition away from the central idea of what I was experiencing. So it's a very weird blend and mix, very different from what I usually do, but I managed to pull it off.
Yeah, you did. It's a great picture, honestly. I really like it. It's very detailed as well. It gets you thinking, so great work.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I appreciate it.
So just to move forward, can you tell us about the process and techniques involved in creating this piece? Because like I just mentioned, everything is really detailed. There are so many elements to the piece. The fact that you have the brick wall with graffiti on it, you have the seaweed that's sort of in the background. I can see the light coming through the ocean, right? The flowers, the detailed suit. There's so much going on and everything looks so well thought out. So I really want to know what the process for creating this was like.
All right. So most times, right, a lot of digital artists make use of custom made brushes and there are certain filters you can use, stuff like that. So I had to make 2 or 3 custom brushes from scratch just for this piece. And I used, I think, 1 filter to make the water actually look cool. But other than those, even though it's digital, right, I still paint with the rules and regulations of like traditional painting. I paint like I'm painting traditionally using gouache. So I have a gouache brush. I take it, I pick a color, I paint the base color, and then I start layering more colors on top of that. So basically, from the background to the foreground, I painstakingly painted each element there. The only things that I used custom brushes for the flower stamps to make the flower figure and the little pieces of flower floating around. And then I had to make another brush for the bubbles. I think I had to make a brush for the sunlight coming from the water and stuff. And then for the water itself, that was the third time I was drawing something underwater. So I had to watch YouTube videos again just to really understand the physics of water again before I started that piece. Because there were two pieces before this one, and I did well with the water, but I needed to remind myself about the physics of water. So yeah, basically, if you see the way a traditional painter paints, that's exactly how I paint on my tablet, except for the occasional custom brushes here and there. Yeah.
Interesting. And how long did this entire process take you?
Before I start a piece, it can take me up to 2 months to think about how it's going to look, what assets I'm going to use, the idea, the name, the message. I think about all these things. When I have all of them down, then I can then start the piece. So it took me about 2 months, but from when I actually started the piece, it took me 3 days to start and finish.
It came out great, so great job again.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate it.
So you just talked about how you had to go learn the physics of water again. So is there any difference between the way you handle the water here and the previous paintings you talked about?
Yes. In fact, after this painting, I had to go back and retouch those previous two paintings, right? So in the previous two paintings, there were some things off with the rays of light and the bubbles, and I think the first one I even did, there were no bubbles. So after painting this piece, I learned a lot from here, and I had to go back and retouch those other two to bring them up to par a little bit.
Yeah, that's great. Growth. I like that.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Yeah, always learning from mistakes and improving. It's very important. People underestimate that. Some people finish your work and they're done with it. But I like the fact that you go back and you're like, okay, I've learned. Now I can still improve this work, right? It's never finished. You can never have perfection.
Yeah, it's never done. And one thing I do is, you might see me post a picture today, right? But I actually finished the picture like last week. I give it time, because from when I feel I'm done with a piece till the time I actually post, I keep touching and changing and tweaking. So if I had already posted those previous two pictures, no one will see the update. I don't know if you get what I mean.
I get what you mean.
Yeah. So when I'm done with a piece, I don't rush and go and post it. No, I sit on it while I'm working on the next piece, and I'm still upgrading and changing stuff. So yeah.
Okay. And you already told us what the inspiration behind this piece was, right? So we know what you were feeling when you created this piece, but what kind of emotions would you hope to evoke in the viewers when they see this, right? Assuming they don't know the backstory.
When people see this piece, what I want them to take away from this piece is that no matter the situation you're in, you are being placed in that situation for a reason. As a human, you're there to experience it and learn from the experience. You're not there because God hates you. God won't put you in a situation He doesn't think you can handle. So when you find yourself in whatever the situation is, just know that you're there to learn. That's the main takeaway. No matter how hard it is, you're going to learn from it. So just calm down and learn from it.
I like that. That goes really well with the title, As I Sank, I Explored.
Yeah.
Okay. And then did you have any external artistic inspirations to help with this?
Yes, actually. Oof. I can't remember his name right now. When I find an artist that I like, I actually take screenshots of their works and keep them and meditate on those, so to say. So there's this very artist, I have like a folder of maybe 10 to 20 of his works, right? And there was a piece he made with an astronaut, right? And while looking at that piece, I had inspiration for about 4 pieces. You get? So
Yeah.
this, as I sank, I explored, is one out of the 4 pieces that I plan to make because of that painting he made.
Okay. And aside from this piece, are there any other exciting projects that you're working on?
Oh yeah. I'm constantly working on stuff. So I sell my pieces as NFTs.
I
So
see.
I always do like 5 to 10 paintings. And when I'm done with those, then I start minting and packaging them for sale to whoever wants to buy. So this right now is my current project for April, right? Because the mint date is going to be in April. And then besides that, there is applications to galleries and emails and stuff like that. So yeah, basically constantly working. But no, I don't have any big time like 150 edition project anytime soon.
I see. And are you the type of person that works on one piece until it's done, or do you work on everything in parallel?
Oh, sometimes I keep multiple painting projects open because I might feel like working on a different piece at any point in time. So sometimes 2 paintings are open. I'm working on 2 paintings at a time. But then sometimes it's just one piece that I'm focused on. So it depends on how I feel at that point in time.
Understood. That makes sense. Yeah, so that's all the questions I have regarding this piece. It's a great work. Like I said before, it's very thought provoking. The first time I saw it, I couldn't really grasp my head around what to feel, in the sense where immediately I looked at it, I thought, oh, is this just a scuba diver trying to explore? Right. And then the more I looked at it, I was like, wait, no, where are there flowers coming out of the scuba suit? Why is it in tatters? Why is there a brick wall? Why is everything broken? Why is there graffiti on the wall? There's just so much going on, right? And
Yeah.
because of that, I was so excited to talk to you because I really wanted to see what you were trying to portray with this. Yeah, I'm pretty happy we did this. Thank you.
Thank you very much, man. I'm glad you reached out to me.
Oh, for sure. So I guess the last thing I want to talk about real quick is the Udocreatives app. I don't know if you've seen the new changes we've made. We've made a ton of changes. So I like how you mentioned that whenever you see an artist that inspires you, you take a screenshot of their work, you meditate on it. Because on the Udocreatives, right, one of the new features we have is called the Spotlight section, which just brings up random work, right? So the way it works is that as opposed to having some sort of algorithm where if you like a certain kind of post, we just feed you that kind of post constantly. What we're doing is we expect that everybody on the app is interested in creativity, is trying to be inspired. So it's heavily randomized, right? So even if you have 20,000 subscribers or 2 subscribers, you have the same chance of being seen. And the whole point of this spotlight page is that by showing off multiple people's work, everyone can find inspiration easily, right? You can just be scrolling and you're like, oh, I like this work. You bookmark it.
Yeah.
When you go to your profile, you just check your bookmarks. You see the piece. You can even private message the person who created the piece, right? You can private message the creative and ask questions on how they did, exactly how they did what they did. You can even just go to the piece itself and discuss the piece right there on the app. So even if you don't want to message privately, you can discuss the piece right there on the app. Or you can even go to our discussion section, because we have a discussion section. You can go to the discussion section and you can ask people like, hey, how do you guys usually paint water, for example? How do you guys usually style your brushes? All of those things. So we've been working on meeting the needs of creatives all around, whether you're starting out or you're really experienced in the industry or you're just an admirer. There's something for everyone there, right?
Yeah.
Especially because we know that for the people who are just starting out, we know that when you start your creative journey, it's a long and lonely process. It's difficult to get help. So we want...
Definitely.
Yeah, so we've created this hub where once you go on the app, there's already so much information and inspiration for you, right? And so many avenues to get help, so you don't have to feel alone. And if you're already way into your creative journey and you already have some experience, right, you can easily always get inspired by other people. You can find people to collaborate with. You can see what people are talking about for a certain topic, right? We're even trying to add new features, like adding tutorials. We have an events feature, things like that. So we're trying to make sure that we build this creative hub where every creative is in a safe environment, because what we think is that other social media is causing unnecessary competition among creatives.
Yeah.
But we don't want that. We don't want people to be competing to be seen, right? We don't want people to be trampling on other people to be seen. We want everyone to just be in a safe space. So imagine a building where, as a creative, you walk in, right? You can just go hang your work somewhere, and then you can go look at everyone else's work. And as you guys are looking around, you're just talking, having tea. So imagine that, but in app form. That's what we're doing. We're making a virtual safe space for creatives. We don't even show how many people have liked your work, because we're not trying to discourage people, right?
Yeah.
And we also make it so that there's no pressure to constantly post, right? So we have this thing called the glances feature, where you can go and post your progress videos, your progress pictures. Just put it on the glances tab. That way, if somebody comes to your page, right, all they see is your final work. I know a lot of people like progress videos and everything. So the idea is that if they see your final work, they subscribe to you, and then based on that, they can now keep up with your glances, because the glances expire after 7 days. Like I said, with no pressure to post like other social media platforms, right?
Yeah.
For example, let's say you make a new update, a new progress report, you just put it on there. For the next 7 days, even if you don't post anything, people know that this is what you've been doing in the last 7 days. There's no shadow banning or all of those things because you didn't post, right? We don't punish you for not posting. We want you to focus on creating. We know you're not an influencer. This is your world. Have a safe space, and we are just here to give you that platform to help it grow, right? And we also want to help people be seen by galleries, art collectors, all of that. So we even have the event section, so people can post about events that are going on to allow people to meet up and all of that. We're really trying to make a safe space for creative. We want people to be relaxed, no pressure to do anything other than creating. Create at your own pace, share your work, get inspired by other people, discuss, collab, everything just through that safe space.
Yeah, I feel you, man. This is a very robust and thoughtful app for creatives, especially. I like it. You guys are doing a great job, honestly.
Thank you. We're trying to showcase people, right? No matter what your size is, if you're just a hobbyist, right? If all you do is art for hobby, right? If you're in class and all you do is draw in class because maybe the lecture is boring, you can come and paste it on here. It's not just for professional artists. Anybody who enjoys creativity can just come and post their work here. So it's not even just for people who are professionals. It's for everyone. Hobbyists, professionals, admirers, collectors, everyone. Right now we just do illustrative or picture-based creativity. So that's what we're getting towards.
That's fantastic.
So thanks, Michael, for your time. That's all I have to say about the app. Thank you so much for coming here to share the inspiration behind this piece. Thank you for telling us about your techniques. And thank you for being a long-time supporter of this platform. We can't do it alone, and all the people that have been supporting us have helped. And we've also been watching you guys grow as well, right? Like, we've been seeing the improvement in your works. So we're cheering you guys on. So
yeah, thank you very much, man.
Yeah. So once more, thanks again. Have a great day.
You too.
Take care.
Stay safe. All right.
Bye.